Yo, what's going on? Kofuzi coming to you on location from the backyard. You know what that means. It's time for another Runna training series. Runna is going to be the sponsor for this video and for the training videos getting ready for the first to 5K that I'll be running on June 7th in New York. Now, I'll be talking more about that race and how you can race with me. But for today, what I want to talk about is an overview of the Runna app itself. I'll give you an overview of how you can set yourself up to train for a race, what it looks like. It's going to be more of a reference type of video, and you'll get a sense of the feel of the app and what it's like to use it on a day-to-day basis. I'll also talk about some really important updates that they've made to the app since my last training block as I got ready for the half marathon at Houston. So let's get started taking a look at the Runna app, and let's go inside. Okay, now we are in the studio. I've got my phone out. We'll take a look at the Runna app. And where you start is with a goal, which makes a lot of sense. Runna wants to know what you're trying to get out of this training plan that you are signing up for. There's a lot of different reasons why people run and why people want a training plan. For me, it's going to be a race, and you can select from a set of races, which is useful because not only does it give you access to another community of runners who are also using the Runna app and training for the same race, but it also loads in the course and the elevation gain of that course, so it can help you train specifically for the race. Now, the race that I'm looking for isn't in here yet. I think it might get in here soon, but it's not in here now. So I will add it manually. So it's called First to Fast 5K. And I think these are going to be races that are all over the world, but the one that I'm training for is in New York. And the country is United States. And the date is June 7th. That's a Saturday. Distance is 5K. I actually don't know a ton about the route yet, but it's in New York. So I'm going to assume that at least it's going to be a moderate race. So we'll hit add, and then you can kind of pick what kind of training plan that you want to have. And so I don't necessarily consider myself an elite runner, but based on kind of the definitions I have here for beginner, intermediate, and advanced, I'm going to go with elite because I do regularly run half marathons or further, and I'm experienced with structured training, i.e. Intervals. And I'm going to enable elite plus for some extra mileage because I'm a high mileage guy. I don't typically respond too well to like a lot of short but fast training. I'm more of like a get a bunch of aerobic miles kind of guy. So I'm going to pick that. We'll continue, and it wants to know kind of like how to start off gauging what your workout should be. And if you have a recent race time, that's always helpful. I recently raced a 5K in Miami a couple of weeks ago, and the time on that was, I think, 20:33. So we'll leave that like this. I could be off on that, but I think it's somewhere in that range. My PB is a little bit faster than that. It's just under 19 minutes, but I think this is where I'm at right now, and I think that's what's the most important. Next, it asks you how many days per week you want to be able to run, and I like to run 7 days a week. I'm not a no days off kind of guy, but I also just really love running, so I like to run every day if I can, sometimes twice, and I'm free to run on every day of the week, which is kind of what you have to be if you're a 7-day-a-week runner. And now it wants you to know what day you want to do your long runs on. For the half marathon build, I picked Friday because I felt like with my travel schedule, a lot of times I'm doing stuff on weekends at events. But I found like doing a Friday long run ended up being really stressful for me, and it also changed the rest of the workouts throughout the week. So I think I'm going to try Saturday for this time. And it wants to know when I want to start training. And I want to start with a 12-week plan because I feel like that's a good amount for a 5K, and we're 14 weeks out, so I kind of have a little bit of time to ease into it. But we'll start off with a 12-week plan and hit continue. And now I could set my training preferences. If you don't know really what you're doing on this part, just hit continue. But I've done a Runna training plan before, so I'm going to edit my preferences. And this is something new from what I did last time. If you guys watched any of that series, you guys know that I struggled with the plan. I just felt like the workouts were too hard. The volume was good, but like just some of the paces I felt like were a little bit too aggressive for the kinds of sessions that they were assigning to me. So now if that happens to me again, I can come into the app and make some kind of global level adjustments to just how hard my workouts and sessions are going to be. Now keep in mind that the app itself is still monitoring your paces and how you're performing. If it senses that you're struggling, like it sensed that I was struggling with the workout training plan, it will let you know that it thinks that you should take an adjustment. But now you have the option of waiting for the app to give you those adjustments, or you can actually come in and push those adjustments yourself. Now, as far as training volume, you can set it for progressive, where it gets more and more in terms of how much work you're doing. You could also set it to steady, so it's not as dramatic of an increase in terms of volume. Or if you're a injury-prone runner or you're relatively new to training plans, low volume is probably the better way to go about it, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. I'm gonna leave mine to more on the progressive side because I like a lot of training volume. I like a lot of mileage. And then there's also advanced customization that you can turn on, where you could tell it like, how long do you want your hard or easy run maximums to be? And I feel like mine can go a little bit higher. And how long do you want your longest long runs to be? Again, if you don't know yet, I would say just leave it for whatever the app tells you, but I know I can go a little bit further for my long run max for what I want. So I'm gonna basically set those as high as they go. And then for difficulty, this is also something else that's new, is you could adjust how hard run it is for you in terms of whether it's challenging, balanced, or a little bit on the more comfortable side. And there's also some additional details as to what challenging versus balanced means in terms of how many hard runs per week you'll have, how much regular difficulty you have on your hard runs, and how other long runs with pace targets you might have. Again, there's an advanced customization option, which I will take advantage of here. The number of hard runs, I like multiple workouts per week, so I don't have a problem with 2 per week. For my hard run difficulty, I think I'm gonna leave mine on regular. I feel like some of the workouts the last time I did Runna were really, really tough. And so I feel like I'm not going to peg this one so much. I don't mind having like a really long warm up and a really long cool down for a lot of volume. But in terms of how much work I'm doing, I think maybe regular difficulty is gonna be enough. And then for my long run structure, how much do I want just like an easy, long, slow distance kind of day, or how much do I want a long run with some work in it? I love long runs with work in it, so I'm gonna leave that to regular. And how difficult do I want my pace targets? Again, I think I'm gonna try not to bite off more than I could chew this time and leave it to regular and hit save. And these are all things that you can revisit later and adjust midway through. So don't worry if you're not really sure. You can always just kind of set it now and see how it goes. And then it wants to know like what your current weekly mileage is and what your current longest run is. And so for me, my current weekly mileage, I'm in between training plans right now. So I'm just kind of running like a buffet, eating and running as much as I can. Not doing too many workouts. I'm doing like a little bit of stuff here and there just because I'm testing some race shoes. But I'm mostly just enjoying a lot of running. This week, I think I'll finish somewhere above 70 miles, which is pretty high for me. But when I was training for the half marathon, I think I was in like the mid 60s. So I think I'll put this at like 65 for now, just to say what my current like weekly mileage is. And then I'll go to my current longest run. Because I've been in between training plans and my last training plan was for a half marathon, I haven't really done super long runs lately. So I wouldn't really feel comfortable doing like a 20-mile run next weekend. I probably could do it, but it would be a lot. And so I think I'm gonna leave this closer to like 16 miles. I feel like is a good place to put that. That's where I'd feel comfortable. And then I'll hit done. It gives me kind of a summary of the things that I've selected, and we'll hit get started. At this point, then it'll start building the plan. It's thinking about it a little bit, and in a moment, we'll be ready to take a look at my training plan. All right, and here we go. Welcome, Kofuzi. I get a little bit of a welcome video from Runna, and it gives me some estimates of where it thinks I might end up by the end of this training plan. It's predicting or anticipating that if I can manage a high volume and a regular difficulty of workout training plan, I should be able to take my current 2033 and move that down to about a 1910. And I feel like that feels like it's going to be some work, but it also feels manageable. I don't really care too much about the 10K half marathon and full marathon predictions because I'm focusing on the 5K for once. And then there's a guide that explains all the different types of runs that you're gonna encounter. There's definitions for all of these things that you can kind of go through and hear and read a little explainer for. I'm just gonna hit continue right here so we can start taking a look at the plan. And this is kind of like my basic dashboard that you get. This is what you'll see every time you look at the Runna app. Now, before we do a deep dive into here, I do wanna say about some of the things that we answered in terms of like the way we wanted to set up our plan, in terms of how much volume, how hard the workout should be. Keep in mind that the AI component of Runna will look at what you're doing and the training that the app has been assigning to you and see how well you're handling those workouts and how well you're recovering from those workouts. And it will be able to adjust itself. So don't worry. Again, if you have made some choices and you're worried if you made the right choices, the app is watching out for you as you go. So it's constantly looking at your performance and making adjustments as you go. So with that being said, let's take a look at the app. We're looking at the dashboard now. It's letting me that I've got 91 days from the time of filming of this video before it's time to race. It's giving me some weather for the day. There's some tips that you can kind of go through that give you some motivation, some help as you're going through your training plan. If you have an additional activity that you want to add that's not on your calendar, you can do that here. And of course, you can hit the record workout button if you want to start the workout for today. Up top, it gives you a quick view of all the different days from this week and what you've done all those days. And everything that's showing up now is just data that it's pulling from my Strava. And so that's something that I think maybe we should take a look at next in terms of how to connect the Runna app to Strava and also your running watch. So I think there's a couple of ways to get there, but I think the easiest way to get there is to just go to your profile. And the first thing that you want to take a look at is going to connected apps and devices. And the two apps that Runna currently connects to is Strava or Apple Health. And so I currently have it only connected to my Strava, although I do run with an Apple Watch as well. But you can log into your Strava, give it your credentials, and then the apps can talk back and forth to each other. Every time something gets posted to your Strava, it gets pushed into the Runna app, and that data will come in. The other thing you could do is connect a watch. I have a Garmin that I use on most of the days, and so Runna can then also push the workouts to your watch. And so that's really helpful on even easy days, but especially on workout days when you're doing a variety of different intervals of different lengths and different paces and different recoveries. All that stuff gets automatically pushed to your watch. So all you have to do is start running the workout, and then the rest of it is just do whatever the watch tells you to do whenever the watch beeps. And so that is super convenient. There's no additional manual syncing that you really need to do anytime your watch just syncs with the Garmin app. Because the Runna app and the Garmin app talk to each other, all that automatic gets pushed to your watch, and it's very seamless. Now, the other thing that I would have you do here that's I think really important and something that came up a lot of times when I did my first Runna series is that I always turn off Runna telling me what to do when I'm on an easy run or on a recovery pace. And so some people were getting messages saying that like you're running your easy paces too slow. And I just think that you should run your easy paces however easy you want to. And the way you do that is in workout settings. I always do leave the pace targets on so that information gets pushed to my Garmin watch, but I always turn off or leave off by default the pace targets on easy run. Whenever I'm running easy, I just want to run easy, shuffling feet if I need to on a recovery run day, or running at just a conversational pace on any other regular day. So that's something that I do, is just leave that part off, and that I think makes the Runna experience so much more livable on a day-to-day basis. Now let's take a look at some of these other tabs that are along the bottom of the app here. I think I spent a lot of time in the plan section, and Number one, it tells you kind of where you are overall in your total training block, and you have a bunch of other kind of sub-menus, and we'll go over that as well. But if you just want to scroll down through kind of the dashboard for the plan menu or the plan tab, it could show you again that estimated race times, and it also shows you what's going on in terms of how Runna is monitoring your pace data. So once you are in your training plan and doing workouts, it'll say that you're doing fine. It's monitoring what you're doing and you're hitting the paces that you want to, or it might give you the option right here to have Runna auto update the rest of your training plan and make some adjustments based on how you've been doing, whether the workouts have been too easy or too hard. And then it gives you a summary of all the different weeks. And so because I asked for a 12-week plan, but I did it 14 weeks out, the first week it's giving me really just one run. I'm gonna run more than this, but it's only giving me that one easy run. But one thing we could do is take a look at week 2. And so let's just jump into there and see, we've got something from Coach Jen here in terms of some advice she's giving us in terms of how to look at this training plan. And then it gives us some color codes for the kinds of work that we're going to be doing. You get one color for all your easy runs, and a lot of the work is going to be easy runs, but then you get different colors for tempo workouts, something that's more in the intervals like track work, 400-meter repeats. This workout I think is going to be pretty tough. It's 2 times 10 by 400, so 2,400-meter repeats at 6:15 per mile pace, which is pretty much VO2 max effort. It's really close to goal race pace. So it's going to be a big workout. So there's workouts there. And then I'm also going to have a hilly long run. I do have a nice hilly run that I normally like to do. And if I do 3 laps of that, it'll get me pretty close to that 15.5 miles. So that'll be kind of the first week. And you could do that for any of the weeks. You can look ahead to see kind of what's coming, or you could jump to a specific week in the plan. Now, as we look at the plan overview, one of the things I could see is because I asked it to give me a lot of miles, it's going to give me a lot of miles. The first real week of work will have 66 miles, then 68, and then we'll have a cutback week. But then we jump up to 69, 69 and a half, and 70.2. So that I think is going to be one of the highest mileage weeks. After another cutback week, we get 70.3. So we'll have some pretty high mileage in here with a lot of work, and then we'll end up into a taper, pretty aggressive taper as well. So now let's go back and take a look at some of these other sub-menus that are in here. Up here on this plan tab, there's the plan overview. And again, that's that first thing that we saw, that intro to our race plan. So if you wanted to get that and maybe you missed it or skipped through it the first time, you could see that intro video again. And then also meet your coaching team. That's what that part is. And then again, if you want to get to the connected apps, connecting Strava or your watch, another way you can get through that is right here on the plan tab, or you can find it in the profile section. And then you have the manage plan section here. And this is where you can make those adjustments to the settings that we tweaked when we set up our race plan in terms of your runability, the elevation profile for the race that you're going to run, if it's not auto-populated when you select a race like Houston Half Marathon. And you can also change all the things that you selected in terms of when you want it to, the plan to start, when you want your long run to be, what days you want to run. All those things can be adjusted. And the other thing that you could do here, there's 2 main things, one of which I'm doing differently than last time, and then another thing which is brand new. So one thing that I'm going to do differently from last time is I'm not going to add additional workouts. And what they mean by that in the Runna app is you can add some strength training plans, some mobility plans, or some Pilates work in here. Now, the strength training plans were really fun. They were different than things that I normally do. It was a lot of core work, which I know I desperately need more of. And so it's not that I'm not planning on doing strength work during this workout. I just don't want the Runna app to give them to me this time, because I think I had it set up to give me 2 strength workouts a week, and I just ended up skipping most of them. So that to me just felt bad that I kept having to tell the app that I'm skipping this workout. So I'm just going to have the app not give me workouts in terms of strength and conditioning. I'll hopefully be able to do some on my own. I've been building out the home gym down here in the basement. So hopefully I'll be able to do some work on my own, kind of on my own terms, but that's something that you could certainly set up. The nice thing about the strength workouts though, is that it gives you stuff that is going to be good for runners, and it gives you a good demo and walkthrough and sets up the workout as like a circuit. So that way you just get the workout started and follow what the phone and the app tells you to do. And so if you don't know what you're doing in the gym, this is a really great way to learn some new exercises. The other thing you could do is the mobility work. There were some yoga sessions in there that I thought were actually really helpful and timely. But again, I'm hoping to do kind of my own thing this time, so I'm not going to add it. And I've never tried Pilates before, but if you wanted to add Pilates into your workout plan, you could do that through this option down here. Now, the other thing that's new about this is that you can adapt your plan by adding a holiday. And for those of us in the US, they don't mean like, you know, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. They mean like vacation. So if you're going to go on vacation and you know it's going to be really hard to stick to your training plan, you can let Runna know and it'll adapt your training plan around your vacation or your holiday. Now, I don't have any vacations coming up, but I do have a lot of travel coming up. So let's go through that and we can kind of see what it looks like in terms of those options. So my next holiday or my next trip, I'm going to be going to Italy next week. So I think I'm leaving on the 17th, if I remember correctly. And I think I come back on the 21st. And so those are the days that I'll be out of the country. And so there's a lot of travel involved. It's a media trip, so I'll be doing a lot of work. There'll be some running involved, but I'm not really sure what the rest of the schedule is going to be like. I won't know the full schedule till I get there. So I don't know how well I'm going to be able to adhere to workouts. So what I'm going to do is I don't want to just do easy runs, although I may end up just doing easy runs. But so I don't want to do a long run because I don't really want to try and figure out hydration and fueling and potential bathroom stops for a long run in northern Italy. So I'm just going to have the Runna app give me easy and speed runs on this vacation. And so then it thinks about it for a little bit, and then I can say confirm the adjustments. It'll adjust my deload schedule. Remember those cutback weeks, and then it rewrites the plan for me. Now I have 2 other trips. I'll be going to Boston, and then I'll be doing another international trip, which will involve a lot of travel. So I'll add those in there as well, but you get the idea of the process. And all those holidays will show up here, so that way you can see when those are, and then the Runna app will also make adjustments in terms of your long runs, because I don't want to necessarily have long runs while I'm on these trips, these work trips. And so that's where I'm going to leave that. Now, the last thing that I also want to talk about is this icon up in the corner up here, this little calendar icon. So let's say I don't necessarily want the Runna app to change too much. Maybe on one of these trips that I'm going to go on, like when I go to Boston for the Boston Marathon, I think I'm probably going to be able to get in all my long runs, and I'm not too worried because it's Boston about figuring out how to do my long run. So I might not tell Runna about what I'm going to be doing on that day, but I might need to move some workouts around. So that's something that I could do. I think Boston is on April 21st. It's always on Patriots Day, but I think Patriots Day is the 21st this year. So this is the week where I'm going to be in Boston. So let's take a look at this schedule. 8.7 mile easy run seems fine for the day before the race. Keep in mind, I'm not running Boston this year. I've already run it once. That's plenty for me. I'm there to just cover the race and also put on some events. Saturday, the day before that, is going to be a 15.5 mile hilly long run according to my schedule. And I think that fits in the schedule perfectly. I know just the spot to get in some hilly long run miles in Boston. But Thursday is going to be my travel day, and currently I have a workout scheduled for that day, and I don't really want to try to travel and do a workout the same day. So I can just hold on to this workout and then switch it with Friday. Friday should be relatively open, so that shouldn't be a problem. And then I have just the 7.5 mile easy run for the travel day, and that feels a lot more manageable to me. Now, I can go through any of the weeks that I want to move things around, and all you have to do is hold it and then drag it to wherever you want. You can even move a workout from one week to another, and then when you're done, you hit the save button, remember those changes, and it also updates what it's pushing as far as workouts go from the app to your watch. So you'll still always have the most updated workouts sent to your watch. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is what it looks like when you actually go for a workout and then come back so you could see what the data looks like. Now, the plan for me hasn't started yet. So what I did ahead of time was I had Runna create an interval workout for me so I can show you kind of how it works when you set up the workout, do the workout, and then come back to look at the data. Now, when I was out on my run, because the workout had been created in Runna and because my watch is synced to the Runna app, that workout pushed to my watch. So when I got to my run location for today and started my run, I automatically was asked if I wanted to do today's workout. I said yes, and then I just used the watch to guide me through the workout so I don't have to worry about hitting the lap button at the exact right time. And then once I've done the workout, I can come back and open the app, and automatically something that's happened is I got this check mark over here, which indicates that the data from my watch has synced to the Runna app, and the Runna app has realized that I have completed the workout. And so the workout for today was 1 kilometer repeats, and I can tap into it to see not only what the workout was as a reminder for myself, but I can also look at the data itself. And so here's a map of where I went for my workout today. It's an area that is pretty flat, relatively flat, and it's where I like to go for doing workouts just like this. And so the workout for today was 10 times kilometer repeats at 6:55 per mile, and then a 90 seconds rest, and then you can see that in the description right here. And then if you keep scrolling down, you get not only a graph, but also the splits for each mile that you ran, and you can see some additional data. Now, one thing that I like to do is look at the details here, and then I get a better idea of each individual rep, whether I hit the paces that I wanted to or not. Now, something to keep in mind is there's something that's different that happens here because I'm not technically in my plan yet. And so even though I had a pace range and pace targets for today, they're not showing up here visually, but I do get a chance to see exactly what my paces were for today. But in prior workouts that I've done while I was in plan, something that you'll see at this top line over here is little white kind of pace ranges. And those white bars are a really quick way at a glance to see if you are in range or not. Now, the other data that you could see if you scroll down further is pace and elevation. And if you hit this button for more analysis, you'll see even more data in here. Basically, all of the really important data that your watch is collecting gets pushed over and gets sent to the Runna app as well. So you could see it kind of all in one place without having to jump around between different apps. Then the other thing that's new that didn't exist the last time I did a running training plan, which exists now, is some feedback that is generated by the app. So first, it asks you how you found the workout. I felt like the workout, kilometer repeats, threshold repeats, those are my favorite kinds of workouts. So of course, it was hard, but of course I liked this one. And then once you do that, the Runna AI will then analyze your pace, using the British spelling for analyzing, and then it'll evaluate what your workout was like based on what you were supposed to do for today. And so it's telling me that I did a great job on completing the interval session, and it is letting me know that I did run the repetitions a bit faster than I was supposed to, which I think that is an important thing to keep an eye on. Usually when I'm in plan, I pay a little bit more attention to the prescribed paces because I firmly believe that you should run the paces that are assigned and no faster and hopefully no slower because you're trying to get the desired workout intensity and effect. And so I think that I have a pretty good sense of how the workout went. I've been doing threshold repeat workouts for a lot of the years that I've been training for road races and road marathons. But I think that this could be useful for people who maybe have not done a lot of threshold repeat workouts or other types of interval training, and help them understand if they're doing the workouts correctly or not. And it gives them a little bit more kind of feedback on the run other than just, was it really hard or not? And so this is a brand new thing that Runna has implemented, and it'll be interesting to keep an eye on this as my plan goes on. And then, of course, something that you could do is share it. And so you hit the share run button, and it gives you a couple of different cards and graphics that you can use. You can add a photo with some pace and distance information as overlays. And there are other options too. There are some kind of graphic visualization summaries that Runna does that I really like, because it very quickly visually shows whether you're hitting it or not. And you can either save that image to your device or automatically send it to your Instagram account if you have that linked, or you could share it with the Runna community. Here it asks you to choose a space, and by that it means who's your audience. Do you want to share it generally with all of Runna, or do you want to share it with the other people who are training for your specific race? And so that's something you can do. And then if you want to go and see that post and see what other people are posting, come back to the dashboard, and on the bottom you can see the community tab, and there you can look at a variety of different Runna communities and see what people are posting there. You can drop comments, drop likes, and do everything that you would normally do in terms of posting your running. And then to round out the review of the other sections of the app, on the center is your activities. This goes over your most recent runs, and you can choose by workout type, year or month if you want to look further back into your training history. And there's also a performance section over here where you could see what your weekly mileage has been over the past period of time, see some of your personal records, all your completed plans. I don't know why my half marathon plan is not showing up in there, but I'm not too worried about that. Some achievements and some of your all-time stats in terms of data that you've done inside Runna. And it gives you a Runna score. Apparently I'm nailing it. And then on the last tab over here, you have customer support in case you have any questions. So that is my overview of the running app. We went over how to set up a training plan and two of the biggest updates to the app since the last time I trained with Runna, and that's adjusting the intensity and volume of your training plan, and also being able to adjust the training plan around your vacation or work travel schedule. We also talked about how to look at your data, how to rearrange individual days on your training plan, and how to include strength and mobility. If you have any other questions about Runna, feel free to put them in the comments down below. If you would like to try Runna for yourself, you can do so with code Kofuzi for 2 free weeks. I don't get any financial benefit or penalty if you use it, but it's there if you want it.